Good evening. Welcome to QUT Web News.
Good evening.
NRL's Parramatta Eels have come under fire today following a preliminary finding that the club is in a breach of salary cap rules. The team has lost this year's 12 competition points and copped a $1 million fine.
It's been a shocking day for the Parramatta Eels, with a finding that the club breached the salary cap by millions of dollars. The NRL says it's a difficult day for the club and fans, and a tough day for the game.
This has to stop, and it stops today. Regrettably, the results at this stage are not only disappointing, they're a stain on our game.
The Integrity Unit found the club was $570,000 over the regulated salary cap this year. They'd breached the rule for 5 out of 6 years.
The preliminary findings suggest the operation of a deliberate, coordinated and sustained system of salary cap cheating by the club.
The findings will see the Eels docked of all competition points, fined $1 million and stripped of the Auckland 9 titles.
The club will be able to accrue points as soon as it makes the necessary changes to comply with the cap.
The team was ranked 5th place on the ladder, but can't earn points until they come under the salary cap. The penalty isn't as severe as that of the Melbourne Storm in 2010. The club was stripped of its 2007 and 2009 NRL titles. Today's findings are preliminary, and the Eels have a chance to respond before the NRL undertakes its final review. Despite these penalties, the team can still make the finals. They'll need to win 12 out of the next 15 games, and the players are ready.
Everyone's just got to stick solid, stick together. Well, we'll get through it.
Season's not over, is it?
Oh, it's never over.
No, well, there's life, there's hope.
5 club officials will be sacked. Their registrations also cancelled. It's not all over for the 5 club officials. They still have a chance to prove that their registrations should be reinstated. Bronte Hearn, QUT News.
Postcard bandit Brendon Abbott will be extradited to Western Australia. WA police are readying to fly to Brisbane to take the notorious bank robber and escapee into custody.
This morning, the Supreme Court denied Abbott's appeal to the extradition ruling, ordering he appear at the Perth Magistrates Court within 7 days. Abbott's already spent 18 years behind bars in Queensland. Now he faces another 16 years for crimes committed in WA in the 1980s. Despite that, his lawyer says Abbott has not given up hope.
There was some discussion during the hearing about possible legal avenues which could allow him to reduce the amount of time he has to spend in prison over there, and so we'll look into those.
If he'd won the appeal, the 53-year-old had planned to live a quiet life in Cairns with his sister.
You know, he's a resilient character, and him and his family haven't given up hope that he'll have a life outside a prison cell.
For now, though, he'll stay behind bars. Elise Whittaker, QUT News.
Treasurer Scott Morrison has described his first budget as not a typical pre-election budget. Today he flagged a focus on jobs and economic growth and promised a budget that will be important for all Australians.
Scott Morrison has remained calm ahead of what may be the biggest test to his political career.
Well, there are many important days in the Australian Parliament, and this day is no different.
The challenge is twofold: delivering a plan to build an economic platform for the government's re-election, while also proving he has a long-term strategy for an economy in transition. The government has promised a budget of no surprises, and for many, it is clear what the focus will be.
A clear plan for jobs and growth. We will stick to our jobs and growth focus.
Tax cuts and superannuation reforms, a tobacco price hike, a $1.2 billion education boost and major investments in infrastructure projects across the nation are expected to dominate. But don't expect too many sweeteners.
We make no apologies for investing in things that improves Australia's productivity, supports jobs and supports growth.
Tax cuts to Australians earning more than $80,000 are expected. The only problem, they'll affect a handful of taxpayers, with 3 in 4 earning below the amount the cuts are expected to kick in.
About 75% of income earners would miss out on a tax cut which cut in at $80,000. The Treasurer appears unaware of that.
Small business is likely to be the winner. The budget will cut tax for small firms from 28.5% to 27.5%. The eligibility threshold will be lifted from 2 million in turnover to 5 million, including thousands more businesses. Malcolm Turnbull promises to bring a responsible, fair and prudent budget. Time will tell if that's what's delivered. Annie Puller, QUT News.
21st century rideshare provider Uber has travelled back in time to deliver a message to the Queensland Government. It's part of the company's campaign for legitimacy, as MPs prepare for a crucial vote on the issue.
This is Uber's second attempt to get letters from their customers to the Premier's office, and this time they're not horsing around. Uber's Queensland GM today hand-delivered more than 15,000 letters on behalf of impassioned customers.
So these letters are from everyday Queenslanders.
Uber says using a horse and cart was representative of the way the government thinks about transport. It comes after the ride-sharing service last month urged its users to send emails to the Queensland Government asking the Premier to vote against legislation that penalises Uber drivers. The Katter Party legislation saw more than 10,000 emails sent in 24 hours to the state government's inbox. But they soon bounced back as the government allegedly enabled an automated blocking system. Uber slammed the move as undemocratic, sparking today's unique delivery method.
What we want to see is sensible, safety-based legislation, like what we've seen in both New South Wales and also the ACT, and which many other states are now currently looking at.
Treasurer Curtis Pitt was unwilling to speculate on the outcome of the review.
This is about getting some sort of a balance where we can have a coexistence, because it is a technology that is on the march, but we don't want to disadvantage our taxi industry at the same time.
A review into the ride-sharing service industry is set to be handed down in August, but Premier Palaszczuk would like it as early as July. Until then, Uber remains illegal in Queensland. Illegal, but still operating. Ashley Whitaker, QUT News.
Brisbane's inner-city bypass is to receive a major upgrade in a bid to ease the city's peak hour congestion. The Lord Mayor says people who use buses will be the big winners.
It's a crucial city artery and it's due for an $80 million upgrade. Plans include a new westbound on-ramp from Bowen Bridge Road alongside improved entry and exit points for buses.
These two things mean that not only do we have an improvement in terms of the road connectivity and for traffic, but also importantly some great public transport connections.
Future plans for a Brisbane metro system are also being considered. Surrounding roads will be adapted during the 3-year construction period. The Lord Mayor says pending toll rises on Legacy Way aren't an issue, with the tollways ultimately providing some much-needed capacity for our growing city moving forward. The Lord Mayor emphasised the fact there will be no lane closures during construction, which should please motorists. Queensland's leading motoring body, RACQ, are also pleased with the announcement. They say having less people on the roads is always beneficial.
The good thing about it is that they'll be taking buses outside of the normal flow of traffic, so that's good news for people who travel on the buses, but it's also good news for the commuters who don't have to deal with that in their daily commute.
The upgrade is due to be finished by 2018. Sam Mortimer, QUT News.
Brisbane could one day be the aerospace capital of the Asia Pacific. The state government says with business help, their new development plan will create thousands of jobs.
Brisbane already has an aviation centre of excellence, but now the government wants to take it to another level.
The aeronautical sector in Queensland is vital, it is important, and I want it to grow.
The Minister today inspected one of the MHR-90 military helicopters being assembled at Eagle Farm with state-of-the-art technology.
This will allow us to look at the strategy for the state government and how they can support us further and how we can further develop and be competitive against overseas organisations in the aerospace industry.
With the growing travel demand from Asian countries, it is estimated that 35,000 new aircraft will be needed in the next 20 years. Queensland is looking to capitalise on this global growth. The Minister says the 10-year plan aims to boost employment across the state with the industry already established in several regional centres. The aerospace sector already provides 4,500 jobs in aircraft component manufacturing and repair services and generated around $600 million to the state economy over the last financial year.
The growth in Queensland is aeronautical engineering, biotechnology, biofutures. That's where the new Queensland economy will come from.
The consultation period of the proposal will run for the next 3 weeks. Jacob Miley, QUT News.
Well, hear ye, hear ye, hear ye. Brisbane finally has an official town crier. The winner was selected after the final 4 contestants competed in a cry-off in King George Square.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Brisbane City shall hereby decree the services of Brisbane's first official town crier!
Brisbane will forever remember the day the city appointed its very first official town crier. Outside City Hall, 4 contestants fought it out in the most epic of crying battles. The 4 contestants were Frederick Krebs, Mike McCutchinson, Mandarella Partridge, and Patrick Keane. Each crier had to perform a cry about the city of Brisbane. The contestants put up a tough cry, but in the end, the best person for the job turned out to be a woman. A first-time town crier, Mandarella Partridge, was awarded the ultimate prize.
Very honoured to be the first town crier of Brisbane, and I hope I serve the community very well.
Maxwell Bissett believes the appointment of a female town crier is very exciting for Brisbane.
There was very little between the top 2 candidates. The other 2 candidates did fairly well, but I think the occasion got to them a little bit.
Mandarella will be the town crier for 4 years and will now represent the city at the National Town Crier Championships in September.
I'm gobsmacked. I wasn't expecting to win.
Lewis Wiseman, QUT News.
Time now for a look at the weather. It was unseasonably warm in Brisbane today, reaching a top of 29. The Gold and Sunny Coast were a little cooler, 27 the max, and Ipswich was warm overnight, dropping to 18 degrees. Around the nation tomorrow and sun for Sydney and 24 the top, 18 the max in Canberra, sunny also, partly cloudy in Melbourne, reaching 19 degrees. Possible showers in Hobart and Adelaide, mostly sunny in Perth, and Darwin could see an afternoon storm, 33 the top. The forecast for Queensland and morning rain for Mount Isa, 18 the overnight low. Showers developing for Cairns and Townsville too, top temps in the low 30s. Mackay and Rocky could see afternoon storms. A storm could also develop in Bundaberg. Partly cloudy in Longreach, winds easing in the afternoon. The outlook for Brisbane, mostly sunny with light winds tomorrow, 28 the max. Slightly cooler overnight on Thursday, dipping to 15. And partly cloudy for Friday, reaching 27 degrees. That brings you up to date with the weather.
And that's all the news we have for now.
We're back tomorrow with more QUT Web News. Goodbye.
Goodbye.